Hey guys, welcome back to Forever Blooms. It's been a while since I shared with you here on YouTube. I've been busy and it's been hot, quite frankly, but can you see? I have a new Palram greenhouse. I'm gonna put the details in the description box for like the make and model and all that jazz. I'm gonna show you a little bit about how I put it together. If you're looking for an in-depth video on how I put it together in more detail just about the greenhouse, I think I'd like to put a video together because I see some, but not as in-depth as I want to do it. So if you came here looking for a video, an in-depth video on how to put this together, I'm gonna try to put one together for you guys in the next month or two. This is more about a out with me in the garden. I'm gonna bring you guys along when we clean it up. And I have some plants here that are gonna be the first plants that I ever put in my greenhouse. And I bought a rare exotic house plant, my first one. It's called a Philodendron Florida Beauty. So stay tuned. Look at that big worm. Ew. All right, these plants, I'm gonna bring the camera, that's gross. Ew. All right, it's time to go. These tomatoes, I'm done. So these tomatoes here, my husband made these obelisks for me, and they've worked wonderfully, but you have to keep your tomatoes pretty well pruned, and I did not. And they've got some caterpillars on them, and they've got blight all on the bottom of them, and it's like September now. So I'm gonna probably transition these beds at this point into fall beds and just let my tomatoes go and pull them. It will also make it a lot easier to put this little cage here that we have on top of the bed because it won't be so tall. So I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I hate getting rid of my tomatoes. Last year I had them up until like October, until like the bitter end, but I'm not gonna do that this year. So look at that. Can you see? Oh my God, I love it. I'm gonna take this inside. That's what I've been dealing with. Gross. So there's a lot of debris at the bottom of the bed, and when you have a diseased plant, you want to try to make sure to remove as much of the plant matter that like dropped, whether it be rotten fruit or leaves. You want to try to remove as much as you can. So that's what I'm doing now, and I just wore gloves because all of my garden gloves are dirty and they're getting washed. So, oh yeah, and that's my new banana plant, which is hardy in my zone 7A. So it should do well over the winter. It won't give me bananas because we don't have a long enough growing season, but it will give me these leaves. And I am from the Caribbean. Well, my parents are Latino, and it's very common to use the leaves to make different dishes, like pasteles and arroz con gandules, which is a rice dish. All right, so this is all stuff that I had a real hard time reaching, and it's been like munched on. So I probably should have removed these, truth be told, when I first saw them. And I tried my best, but with that little cage that we had made for the groundhogs to protect our beds, between that and the obelisks and the leaves taking up so much space, it was hard to reach because I didn't keep them pruned up very well. I know there's a lot of talk out there about composting in the beds and stuff like that, and that's fine, but not with stuff that's diseased like this, only with healthy stuff. Now that I have cleared out that area and removed all the debris, eventually I'm gonna come in and top dress with my homemade compost, which I've made. You see that little bin with the lines in it back here? It's one of those rotating bins that you just like, but I'm not gonna do that today because the goal of today is just to clear up this area. It's hot. So this here is my Palram Essence, which is an 8x12 greenhouse that comes in 2 boxes, and you put it all together yourself. So it's not like the priciest greenhouse. This isn't like Hartley or some of those like really fancy with the brick bottoms, but I can tell you that while we were putting this together, there is a very clear difference in temperature on the inside of this greenhouse, and those panels work to retain heat and reflect light and all that stuff. So it works. It's gonna do what I need it to do. Now, I want to very quickly, because I'm gonna do another video about it more in depth, explain to you what I did with the greenhouse and how I constructed it and why. Okay, so to start, you can see that we had a concrete pad poured for this particular project. Now, I had a previous video of how we did this, so I'll try to see if I can find some footage. So there's the drain. Goes all the way down that way and comes up here. What kind of valve is that? What's the name of that? A pop-up valve. That's simple. But let me open this door. Had the person who poured the concrete insert a little pop-up drain that drains underneath and goes to the outside of the greenhouse, and I'll show you that in a second. So this is the drain. Let's go outside. All right. And I did do a 2-foot lip so that if I wanted to put some raised beds or pots or decor or little benches or, you know, whatever I wanted, I could do that. And also, we didn't want it to be exactly the size of the greenhouse in case the size was just a little bit off than what was online. We just wanted some wiggle room. So, all right, and this is where it drains out to. So it goes from inside, you can see the drain in there, and it drains underground, and it comes out in here. Now, we were worried about mosquitoes, so we got one of those like little drops. It's like these little pellets that you can buy that keep the mosquitoes from being able to reproduce, so we dropped them in the drain inside there just to prevent some mosquitoes. The other thing that we did is we have a PVC pipe that I covered because it's been months since we installed it, and I didn't want it to get covered with debris. Here it is. You see these 2 in there? Okay, now that goes under the concrete and comes out here. Let me show you. Again, a 2-foot lip all the way around. You come back in here. Those 2 PVC pipes go underground and they come up on the left side of the greenhouse on the inside. Now, when there was no greenhouse here, we covered it with the bricks so stuff wouldn't get in. But see, a hose will go in this one and an extension cord will go in that one. And I don't imagine that I'm going to use them all that often, but it's just nice to have them inside so that if I ever need it, I can just kind of hunker down inside if I don't want to be outside dragging a hose from outside. And so some of this stuff has been taking up space in my garage, and I'm so happy to finally have it out here. Let me show you. Okay, so mind you, some of this stuff was here to construct it. So this is gonna stay. This here is a cart that you will see, like a utility cart. It has wheels that, you know, where I can roll it around even with one hand, and storage underneath, little cubbies here where I can stick stuff. But we put a hole, you see how this comes up? We put a hole in this tray and put this is a dog food container. And we put the dog food container inside so it hangs, because this has a lip, and look what happens. Oop, where's the lid? Okay. See? Potting soil, ready to go. And the good thing is that the dog food containers come with a little scoop already. So, just an idea. I'm gonna see how much I use this particular cart, because as you can see, it kind of takes away from the walkway here. It's kind of wide. And the thing about the Palram is I could push it back more inches if this wasn't here. So I could like drill, I guess, like something here so I can push it back and push it back all the way, I guess, if I wanted to. But if it's useful enough to me and I end up using it, I'll just keep it, even though it takes up a lot of space in here. Because I plan to like use this as a potting table, a portable potting table, for when I pot up, dun, 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 that one. So this is just when we were putting it together. I still have some stuff that I gotta put in. So this is a timer. I got it at a thrift store. I'll see if it works. These are the automatic vent openers that I bought from Palram. So the Palram comes with these vents. You see how that's open? It's supposed to open on its own when it gets really, really hot, and then close when it gets really, really cold. So that comes down. So we'll see how well they work. It hasn't been cold enough in New Jersey yet for it to justify closing it. So we'll see. This is something that my aunt from Puerto Rico had sent to me when she learned that I bought a greenhouse, because she thought that this would be so cute hanging inside my greenhouse, and it is adorable. So, all right. So this is a shade kit made to fit the Palram specifically. I'm coming into fall now here in New Jersey. It's September. It's gonna get cold pretty quick here, and I'm gonna need as much light hours as I can if I'm gonna grow stuff over the winter. So I am kind of thinking not to install this just yet, even though it's like really, really hot right now. And this is just junk that I'm gonna clean up. This is a basket, a harvest basket that my husband made me that I'm gonna engrave here. But he made this by hand. Isn't that lovely? And this beauty here is, it has pots all in here with different stuff, accessories and stuff that I had to take out. But I can grow stuff in here, and it's so pretty. I got it from Home Goods. I love it. This is my favorite thing in the greenhouse, guys. Favorite thing in the greenhouse. So here are some lights that I have to install. They're like grow lights for the inside of the greenhouse. Well, they're a lighting system. I don't necessarily know if they're grow light quality yet. I'll have to read on that, but I needed them either way. Drip irrigation from Palram. I'm gonna see how it works. And some other odds and ends. This is a specific kind of silicone that I purchased online, because you're not supposed to use just any kind of silicone to like seal some of the edges, because this isn't perfect, guys. I mean, there's, you know, drafts and stuff everywhere. So if I can get this sealed up for the winter even more so, it's gonna retain even more heat. So I bought this just to see, because you're not supposed to, it can damage the panels if you use any old kind of silicone. It can. So, oh, this shelf here is just odds and ends. I forgot this one. I use this twine to tie stuff up. It's just a little planter. Maybe I'll plant some stuff in it, drill a hole in it, and put some like sedums or something in there. I'm gonna put a picture of my family in here, probably a little something something in here. And this is my rose gloves that I bought at the Philadelphia Flower Show last year. And this is Inkbird, which is a smart home device that includes a temperature probe for inside your greenhouses. And this here is gonna be helpful for just like odds and ends that I can keep in there. And bowls. For some reason, I always freaking need bowls. So that is what it looks like right now. I'm gonna clear this out, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you all the plants that I have been squirreling away to plant in that planter right there. So I have potting soil in a bag. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in this little container that I showed you, because I'm gonna try to be good about putting stuff where it goes and trying to keep organized in here and using things for the purpose for which they were intended. You're talking to a person who very frequently posts pictures on Instagram of me harvesting vegetables like this and like just putting them in my shirt, when my husband like literally took days, like a lot of time to make that handmade harvest basket that I showed you. I'm gonna try to be better. There's some stuff left over. This is pretty full already because I already had potting soil in here left over from other bags. So what's in here I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna just put it straight in the pot. So these are the plants that I have hoarded away for this space. If you haven't heard of stevia, you'll see them in like the sugar flower aisle in your grocery store, and it'll be listed as a sugar substitute. It's healthier than sugar, and it's supposed to be much sweeter than sugar, and I've had it before and it tastes great to me. So it's an alternative that I want to get into and learn how to use. I want to see how it tastes when I steep it fresh in hot tea or iced tea. And then I also want to see if I can dry some of it and then make it into like a fine powder that I can use, like almost like sugar packets where you put in one little thing of stevia. So it looks really sad though, and so I'm going to hurry up and get this put in. And this is how I do my pots, guys. I pre-fill it even on the sides, and I make a little hole in the middle. It just makes it easier. And if you guys have any growing tips for growing stevia in a greenhouse, let me know. Voila! Very sad looking stevia plant, but it's planted up. So, boom. Next one is gonna be the cilantro. And the beautiful thing about gardening in a greenhouse is I'm gonna try to keep it nice, but at the same time, like, it's a greenhouse, you know? So I don't feel as guilty getting the floors dirty or myself dirty in here, because it's a greenhouse. That's what it's for. It's for fun planty projects. This one isn't so root bound. Nice set of roots. Don't see a real need to tease it all that much. So, all right. Let's do the mint, because I have been thoroughly neglecting this mint. You see that? It's green. It has green on top, but it's not doing so hot. And that was total. See how I can just do this and drop it on the floor? That was, oh, it smells so good. Even the dried mint just smells lovely. I should have saved those bits. Oh, they smell delicious. So mojito mint, I don't use it for nothing else except for making mojito drinks. Like, you know, liquor. And that is the sole purpose for which I purchased this plant. So yes, got barbecue rosemary. So I have like 2 other rosemary plants, but we do use rosemary for our barbecue. We eat lamb at our house a lot. We use the rosemary for lamb. And this one just caught my eye because it says barbecue rosemary, and when you smell it, like if you rub it, it does have like a savory, like a smoky element to it that the other ones that I have like don't have, and it's for real. I can smell it. So don't know what that's about, but I'm gonna give it a shot because we do use it. So if you guys want to see more videos of me working in the greenhouse, troubleshooting inside the greenhouse, I don't know how many of my subscribers have greenhouses or plan to get them or would want to see this kind of content. So let me know, because I am learning myself, but I'm okay with taking you guys on my learning journey. Lamb deliciousness is on the way. Done. And the last one is lavender. So when I went to the Philadelphia Flower Show with Brooke from the Vintage Gardener, we had this lemonade that was lavender lemonade, and it was so good. It was so good. I wasn't expecting that floral element of the lavender to be so good. And it really was, you wouldn't think, but this one said here culinary and ornamental. As I understand it, some of the lavenders are more for ornamental than for eating. So the fact that this one said culinary as well as ornamental, that's why I picked it up. What's up, baby? You see my plants? Yeah, they're in there. You see them? I planted them up. You see the plants? Oh, you're brave. You're going to take them for a walk?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's a little bit overcast right now. Yeah, it's a good time. If you give me a second, I'll come with you. If you give me a couple minutes, this is my last plant. All right. Lavender is done. As you could hear, I am going for a walk with my son and my husband. I will be back, and maybe I will show you guys the house plant. So let me give you a quick look at what I have so far. Okay. So this is a cilantro plant. That is the mint. That is the rosemary, the lavender, and the stevia. And I can't wait to have these three here. If you guys have recommendations for what I put on these three, let me know. I am open to suggestions. What will do good in a greenhouse. And then when we come back, I will show you guys my new rare houseplant. Okay, so I'm still rearranging some of the plants in here, like this doesn't belong here, but this is where I keep some of my plants. And this is where my Philodendron Florida Beauty is. And look at that. Look at that. Just gorgeous. It's just so bushy and beautiful, and it's in this thing that I bought at an antique store. Let me see. And it's nice and bushy, and it has a new leaf. You see that coming out? Coming out, and it's just really lovely. All right, so let me give you a better look. All right. That. I love it. So I want to kind of go through a little bit of the thought process for why I selected this plant. So I have lots of houseplants downstairs, some upstairs in my house, and a lot of them are really easy care. They're not necessarily like the priciest plants that you could purchase, because I just haven't prioritized like rare plants that may cost a little bit more, or plants that are a little bit more maintenance. The reason for that is I need plants that are gonna work with me in the summer when I'm like outside doing all my outdoor gardening, taking care of my hydrangeas, or you know, making sure I'm pruning my tomatoes. And I need something that's gonna be able to take at least some neglect when I'm busy doing other things, or like work related stuff, right? So I have a full-time job. So I got as a present for my birthday from my mother-in-law and my husband money to go purchase like a more pricey rare plant, and that's where this thing comes in. So I definitely knew that I wanted something that had the variegation. And for those of you who maybe aren't fancy people, or you're not familiar with the terminology, so variegation is where you have a plant that has green but also has like white splashes in it. So some plants don't have the white in them. Some plants only have like green, like this one put out an all green leaf. That one wouldn't be variegated, but this is variegated, and it will put out, some of them will be green on the Philodendron Florida Beauty apparently, and then the next one, for all you know, is going to be like beautiful variegation like this one. So I knew I wanted something variegated because it just speaks to me. So it was honestly between this one and the Monstera Albo either the Borsigiana or the Monstera deliciosa variegata, which have a very similar look but different leaf shape and size. So the only thing about those other plants are that they're a little bit more care. I spoke to the woman who grows these in our area, and she said that they require a little bit more attention to humidity levels, and the variegated part of the leaf can scorch a little bit easier on the Monstera, the variegated Monsteras. And so she said if this is your first like pricey house plant, you might want to go with the Philodendron, because overall these are a little bit more forgiving than some of the Monsteras that you see like all over Instagram and everything. And that brings me to reason two why I wanted to get this plant instead of the variegated Monstera, is everyone has the variegated Monstera. Not that I am against things that everyone else has, because everyone else has a little Palram greenhouse too, and everyone else has a raised bed, and you know, but I see the pictures all the time, and they're beautiful plants, don't get me wrong, but I kind of wanted to have something a little bit more unusual, and this leaf shape is just, and the variegation, I love it. I'm so happy that I waited for the one that I wanted, and that I didn't, because I went to another store first and I saw beautiful Monstera, and I was like, wow, if I wait to see this one tomorrow, the Florida Beauty, and then like I decide not to get the Florida Beauty, what if it's not there when I go back to the store? And I'm just happy I waited because I love it. So this one, it has a little stake in it right now, you can kind of see it, but I'm gonna buy in the spring, not right now, in the spring, I'm gonna buy like maybe a moss pole or some kind of plank, because these naturally, in nature, they grow up trees. So what they wanna do is like latch on to the bark or something and climb up. And when they start to climb up is when you'll see this leaf side get big. I mean, Florida Beauties, the leaves can get huge if you give them something stable to climb on, where the plant feels safe that it can grow and get established in that location. So if you give it something to climb on, apparently it will grow, and it will grow big. So I am looking forward to seeing this one develop. So when I repot this, maybe in the spring or summer of next year, let me know if you guys want to see it, because I love it. I love it. I am really happy to have recorded today's video. It's been like, I think 2 months since I put anything up on YouTube, and I really missed you guys. So leave me a comment. Let me know you're watching. So let me know kind of what you want to see around this time of year, and I can do it. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye.